Good afternoon. It is Friday, June 11th, and I wanted to do a quick garden tour. It's been raining for the last couple of days, and so everything is crazy in here, but I'm about to pick some stuff that I've been working on, and I wanted to show you all what the garden is looking like on June 11th. June is the most productive month for my garden, and we are starting to pick baskets and baskets full of green beans every other day, rattlesnake beans, and just started picking my butter peas and the greasy grits beans, the purple blowhide pole beans, and we are I just put in my sweet potatoes right there in that little plot, and you can see it. That's mint growing all over this area in here. It is in Florida and it's starting to rain every day, so the grass in here needs to be weed eated, but getting to that today and planting some more okra. But there is my sweet potato slips, and then in this bed right here I have some cantaloupe growing and one jambalaya okra, and I'm going to be cleaning out this bed here and that bed over there. I'm going to leave the kale in there, but I'm going to be putting some stuff behind it. And you can see the pole beans. I just was out here for an hour picking pole beans, rattlesnake beans, some bush beans, Kentucky Wonders. So the kale is still back there. And then right here, I have picked a whole big basket full of these small Wonder Squash, and probably 7 or 8 of them. And then now, since I did that, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got about 7 or 8 on here again, ripening up pretty quickly. Just planted a late germinating mini fall rainbow mix pumpkin that I had to germinate, so I just planted him in here because the vine on this small Wonder Squash don't look very good, but it's still producing. So, and you can see I've got Mexican sunflowers and sunflowers everywhere, all over the place, and the bees are enjoying them immensely. So I did plant some more candy corn and the other quad sweet that I planted. I can't remember what the name of it is right now, but I planted some more of it, and I planted some more of the white butter peas around it, and those are looking good. I put plenty of calcium nitrate on them. I'm going to put a little bit more. And the tomatoes are all going crazy. Majority of the tomatoes that are in here are indeterminates. That is a Genovese Italian tomato. And here is where I was holding my spot for some okra, and I got some emerald green okra and some velvet okra in there, and that is a one of those Mexican sunflowers. And then in here I have some poblano peppers and a purple basil. And I actually have my purple bell peppers in here, but I'm definitely going to be moving them today to a new spot because the green night eggplant are taking over that spot. And then I have a jungle of orange. These look like some Dr. Witchies, and some orange icicle tomatoes in here, and some variety of cherry tomato. And then over here I just have some more sunflowers and Mexican sunflowers, and you can see all the burgundy ones over there, and those tall orange sunflowers from Baker Creek are actually producing sunflowers all the way down the stem. So it's not just one sunflower, it's all the way down the stem, which is pretty cool. And then here's my one Tabasco pepper that I planted, and it is filling up. That's all you need is one, because they make millions and gillions. And then here is my jalapeno peppers putting off a lot getting ripe. And in here you'll see some of that Fiesta Cayenne. Don't know what colors those are going to be, but there's also a purple Hungarian pepper back here. Some more of the Moldovan greens in here, which I just got my first green tomato off of here the other day, and it was huge, and it was different variations of lighter and darker green. But there's some Dr. Witchies in there as well, and some Chef's Choice orange. And then over here, got some more tomatoes, some more of the Genovese, and the cool thing is those Turkish orange eggplants are finally starting to change color. And there they are. So cool. I've never grown those before, and I never even heard of them. And I got those in my gardener, and I don't know anything about how they taste yet. They just started turning orange, but I think they look so cool, and I'm anxious to see how they taste. And then in this pot here, I have a bunch of jalapenos, serrano pepper, and some orange habaneros. Getting a lot of habaneros off that one little plant right now. And then in here I have my Santa Fe Grande yellow peppers. These are great for roasting. And then down here I have my sweet bonnets, which are really the shortest pepper that I got growing out here. I did not top them. They just came that way. They just growing like that. It's the first time I ever tried them. The sweet bonnets are a heatless Scotch bonnet. And I haven't tried eating any of them either. Still getting some more strawberries on my strawberry tower. But I am definitely looking forward to it. And here we have some black cherries and some orange icicles and some yellow pear tomatoes. And I've been getting some black cherries off that, and that's just one that I got seeds from the grocery store. And we'll just keep on going this way. This is my tool. I had it spread out because I was using it to tie up my tomato plants after the storm. So I used that as a row cover on my squash in the spring, and then I use whatever's left over or when I take it off the squash to tear it into strips and tie up my tomato plants. So we'll look at this situation over here. You can see I have 2 pumpkins growing on that trellis on the fence right there, and there's another yellow thing back there that I don't know if it's a spaghetti squash or what. But I also have, if you look in this hole here through this, there is a South Anna butternut growing there from Hoss Tools, and these are the best looking corn that I have. This is a purple red clay corn, I think, and I have picked a couple of them and let them dry. They're a grinding corn, but they have about 2 ears, and they're almost completely developed. So that's a pumpkin squash, and then right there's a pumpkin down in there, and then there is also the burpee spaghetti squash growing in here, and that South Anna butternut you just saw. So these plants aren't looking that bad compared to some of them. There are several spaghetti squash in here that I'm still waiting to get ripe, but those are a few of the pumpkins that we got growing. And then that Arapaho blackberry has petered out. It did put up a big new stem right there. And now the sweetie pies are starting to fill up. And then here is the Guajillo pepper. So the Guajillo pepper is one of those, the 3 most common used Mexican peppers that they use to make enchilada sauce and stuff like that. It's a very mild pepper, like a poblano, and it's a very good pepper. It was the first pepper that I grew from seed to actually put on fruit and grow really big really quickly. And they haven't turned colors yet, but I've been picking them off here like crazy and grilling them anyway, because they're the only ones that I have that were ready to grill that are mild. I used up my Santa Fe's and my gypsy peppers pretty quickly, and so they've been great. They've been delicious. I'll be growing them from now on. The sweet bonnets have flowers, but I don't see any in there. And then this one back here is the lemon hot pepper, and it has started to put on some fruit. And then the Scotch bonnets are just starting to make little baby fruits. And then here's the pumpkin spice jalapenos. No orange turners yet, but a lot of fruit on there. And then here are some of the lemon spice jalapenos back in here. Nothing has been turning. Still no flowers on the Williamette raspberry. And then here is our Hungarian heart tomatoes. We've got flowers but no fruit. Oh, actually we do have a couple of in there. Right there. Those don't look very much like a Hungarian heart. They're kind of round. But we'll see what goes with that. And then in here we have a Juliet tomato right there that's got a bunch of clusters. A couple of ripe fruits. I picked a few off of there. And I have a couple of watermelons growing on the bottom of here. That's a chef's choice. And there, I think there's a Moldovan green in there. And then I've put some more Jubilee watermelons in here. And I've been getting a lot of tomatoes off of here. There's all kinds. There's Dr. Witchy's, there's Chef's Choice Orange. Not sure what that one is. Some kind of a purple. That might be the Wolverine, which is a purple and green tomato. I think that's what that is. And you can see there's some, I've been starting to get some big fruit. And what is interesting, I just saw when I was in here tying up. There we go. This one right here. It's Amish paste. I gotta figure out, I gotta get something over here to tie him up because he's falling down, but that's what he's got. He's got some good looking paste tomatoes on him. But yeah, so there's some more of the Chef's Choice Orange and Dr. Witchy's. And this is this says it's a Chef's Choice Orange, but that one's a red one. And then here is my Ichabon Eggplant that's growing in a pot right here by itself with some marigolds. And then here is what the squash, the winter squash long bed looks like. So this had the buttercup squash in here, the green buttercups. It had the South Georgia candy roaster, and it had the burpee spaghetti squash in here. So right here is the first South Georgia candy roaster that developed on this vine, and the vine right here is turned brown and it is hollow. And there it is. I just picked it. I'm about to go over there and check to see what other squash are ready. There's 2 more growing over there, so I'm going to set that down right there. And that's what that looks like. It's yellow with some pink tinge to it. But there is, see, these squash just migrated to that trellis because I did not put a trellis on them quick enough, because they were covered, because that's how you have to grow squash here. You have to cover them, do them super early in zone 9A and cover them until they start blooming. But you can see I've got some nasty mildew on here, some pest pressure, but I got a little squash growing in there, spaghetti squash. And there's some that are over here that I saw. There's one down there on the ground. I picked several out of here already, good sized ones, and we'll go around this way. And in June and July it is super jungly in here because everything is just huge and it's a small space and we pack a lot in here. But I wanted to show you, down here is the only buttercup that I know that I have growing. So I don't know if that vine didn't do very much as of yet, but I still see these vines putting on new fruit. So wow, this second one, dude, there's a spaghetti squash that didn't do anything, but this one right here might be bigger. It is huge. It might be bigger, and I had put panties on it when it was little, pantyhose. And here is another one, and it's pretty big. I don't know if it's just sitting, supporting itself on the rung of this thing here, but this one doesn't have. I've been like doing the butternut squash test to see if I could prick the skin, and that one, you can see the stem is starting to turn brown on it like the other one was. But so I'm not sure, that one's still green, so I'm not sure that one's ready to pick, but I'm pretty sure this one is kind of getting ready to pick. Doesn't sound as hollow as the other one, but those are massive squash. And I'm going, and that buttercup squash is pretty good size, but I'm just wondering why that's the only one that put on. But this one put on these 3 big candy roasters, and then it shot off another vine that had several that had started on it, but they I accidentally broke it, so that was my fault. Got some tomatillos and ground cherries going right here that volunteered. Some more sunflowers, and then I have a bunch of these Mexican sunflowers in here. So moving along, that candy roaster put out another vine going this direction, and he's got another one right there that he's trying to put on. So still getting squash. These are my yellow bells, and they get a lot of shade in this area, especially now that everything is so big. But they've got a few bell peppers on there that they're starting. Got a banana pepper right here. Got several of the gypsy peppers coming on again, and a jalapeno. And then over here, you can see I have a whole nother row of indeterminate tomatoes that are just flopping over. And my borlato beans, I keep picking them and shelling them. They're like a lima bean, like a big lima bean. And then they just keep coming. You can see them in there, those red beans. And then over here I just pulled out my yellow squash. It was completely done. And then I have 3 of the partial eclipse. So I don't know what the deal is with these partial eclipse, but I've tried them. Maybe it's me. Last year I put them in a little bit late. They didn't do anything. This year I've gotten a few off of them, but they've stayed really small and haven't put off much fruit. So that's the only thing I've ever grown from Hoss Tools that wasn't complete gangbusters. So, and in here I'm growing another South Anna butternut, which you can see it has one little baby right there that it's growing. And then here is my Max Pack, my Calypso and my Muncher cucumbers, and there's a bunch putting on. This guy seems to be happy right here. Took my cucumbers forever to get started because we had such a cool spring that lasted so long, but now this one right now is happy, and it gets a little bit more shade. It's starting to get a little bit of mildew, but it's finally doing something. We're finally getting a lot of cucumbers actually. And then here's a Scotch bonnet that overwintered right here. And then here's some more of those cayenne peppers, those carnival pinata, different colors, supposed to be purple, yellow. And then right here I have some starts that I got in a pot, one of these pots, the Bonnie Foodie Fresh pots from Lowe's, and I got all 4 of these plants, and they are the baby butter, or butter baby butternut squash. And these are supposed to have more of a bush habitat and make some butternut squash, so we'll see what happens with that. And then moving this direction, I don't have anything in here. This is a Seminole Pumpkin that is growing up this trellis right here. Yep, Seminole Pumpkin. And then I just got some Tomatillos that volunteered down here that I moved them all this little corner. And then I've got some more rattlesnake bean or purple blue lake pole beans, and some of those purple blowhide beans, and some lima beans. And then on this side you can see I got some noodle beans growing, and I'm about to plant some more lima beans because I planted a bunch of my lima beans over there on that trellis that the squash took over, and a lot of them, I got some, but some of them are dying on the vine and drying up before I can find them to get any sunlight. So I've just been taking the ones that are dried up and I replanted them. So I got another flat of lima beans to plant now that the squash are dying down. And in here I've got some cantaloupe and cucumber and some watermelons, which I transplanted some of these watermelons out of here because the cantaloupe were shading them out. And right here, this little bed here had some corn, which this corn never did anything because the squash got so big that the Alexandria zucchini got so big so fast that it shaded it out. So I'm going to get ready to pull that out. And I pulled a couple of my Alexandria zucchini out of here that had started succumbing to mildew and vine borer, but I still got 3 good huge plants. There's one over there, one here, and one here. This is 3 plants that you're seeing that are still going strong. And then over here in this corner is pumpkin corner. I planted some Cherokee tans and some Blue Bayou pumpkins in here. And then we got some candy corn that grew in the middle of these. And I've got that one that's running off through that area. I'm just leaving that bed open for the pumpkins to take over. There is actually a Blue Bayou pumpkin, which I had bought those seeds last year, same time as the as those partial eclipse squash and the South Anna butternuts, and they never made anything. And I don't know where, there he is. There's my Blue Bayou pumpkin. So I finally got that. The only thing that did, I bought about 4 different curbita seeds last year, a little bit later, because they were out of stock. And the only thing that did anything was the South Anna butternut. And after I abandoned the garden in July, it took over and we had a good fall harvest. And they actually produced, South Anna butternuts produced all the way until Christmas when I pulled them out. So that's what the pumpkins are doing. They're taking over this spot and I'm letting them have it. And there's, so you can see there's pumpkins there growing that way. That's my Kentucky Wonders. They're still putting on stuff. And my teepees of Kentucky Wonders were a good idea because they are doing wonderful. And my collards are still going. They're getting buried by pumpkins right now, but they're still going. I got to unwrap the pumpkin from that one right there, but I did can a bunch of collards. And coming up here, I'm about to take this mint out of this pot here and plant okra. And then I haven't got many, I'm gonna plant some okra in there too, and probably in this whole little box in the front, because these tomatoes will give out. But these tomatoes haven't given me that much tomatoes, but you can see my patty pan bed right here is just about done, ready to plant some new stuff. So maybe I'll plant some okra in there. It gets a little bit more sun right there. But that's the other side of that little bed. And my little small wonders keep on trucking. And my purple beans. So that's about it for the garden right now, June 11th, in the jungle period. So we will be continuing to harvest a bunch of stuff until, you know, we get into July, and then about mid-July it'll start wrapping up, except for these winter squash that'll keep going. So that's that. That's what we have for you for the garden for June 11th, 2021. Alright, thanks for watching. Have a great day.